Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining. My name's Paul Casto. I'm currently with GE Digital, and there I'm what we call an APM industry principal. I'm also the chair of SMRP, the Society of Maintenance and Reliability Professionals, and I do some work with GFMAM, which is the Global Forum for Maintenance and Asset Management. So most of my work really is around getting value out of different projects. It's how do I actually execute these projects to create value? How do I drive adoption? You know, this is all about digital transformation as we move from sometimes paper-based or older systems to more modern systems. So how do we manage that transition?
Paul, you're going to talk on at the Asset Performance 4.0 conference, and so you're going to address and you're going to talk about the roadmap towards digitization and asset performance. So can you talk a little bit about what are the main challenges for companies when they want to go ahead in this road?
Well, there are a lot of challenges, and sometimes we don't think about all of those because many of us are engineers. And as engineers, we sometimes become enamored with the technologies or the different things that we're going to go implement. But there's more to transforming an organization and transforming how we do work than just technology. So there are a lot of challenges that I might say might even be on the softer side of our business. How do we drive adoption? How do we get people to see the value of moving from one work process to another that's digitally enabled? Many times our workers have to learn about new technologies to be able to use these things. And then once we get to the field with our new projects, it could be a software project, it could be a hardware project. Once we get to the field and we go live with our project, then we need to think about what's next. You know, often we get caught up in we've got to get the project implemented on budget, on schedule, what we said we were going to do, and then the project team goes away. For those of us that are in the field with the new work processes and the new technology, we're really challenged by how do we drive adoption? How do we know things are being adopted? And how do we create value with these new technologies as we transform? So, you know, I'm going to talk about those kind of things. How do we create value? How do we drive adoption? How do we know people are adopting things? How do we get feedback from our workforce, which says we're on track or we're off track? You know, those kind of things around changing not only the, you know, how we do things, but the culture of what goes on out in the field.
Maybe you can already give one of the solutions or maybe a key insight that you think, oh, this is really important in order to tackle those challenges.
Well, there are a couple of really important things. And the first thing I call is planning for value. After we go live with a project, now what are we going to do? And many times we don't think far enough ahead to have it laid out. Where are we going to go implement this new technology? What are we going to do with the new technology? Who are the resources on our team that's going to help us implement this technology? What are the metrics that we're going to follow that tell us, are we being successful or not successful? Are we on track or are we off track? What kind of value? And we want to be proactive in this. You know, we want to know ahead of time, are we on track before we get those lagging metrics? Those lagging metrics might be availability or maintenance cost or other things. Those are lagging. We want to get a system built up. So what we really need there is a project plan. We need a sort of a mini project plan of how we're going to implement, how we're going to manage this transformation. And then the other part I would say is really important is around people change. It's you know, people that have been out in the field have been using old technologies for many years. This is the way we've always done it. How do we get these new people, how do we get these people to adapt the new technology, to adopt it, to start using it, to adapt to the change in the work processes? So there are two really critical areas for success when we think about digital transformation.
Yes, in the end, it's all about people That's for sure. And so, can you give some a concrete example on how GE Digital solves this, or the approach of GE Digital? Well, what is your unique proposition there?
Yeah. Yes. You know, at GE Digital, we like to do a couple of things. The first thing is we think that everyone needs what we call a roadmap. A roadmap is really a plan, and that plan should start from detailed design. Even before that, it should start with front-end engineering design. When we start thinking about, you know, what's the plan? What are we going to do? What are the business objectives that we're going to try to achieve, and get those business objectives targeted, and build a plan out around that, starting, as I said, with really front-end engineering through the design process, through the detailed design process, and then into execution. And when we get to execution, so we have a process for that. We have a process to build a roadmap from beginning to end. And then when we get to execution, we have a process around what we really call value creation. Now we're in the field. We've went live with the project. We've done training. People are equipped with the right skills. Now what? And that process we call value creation out in the field. What are we going to do? How are we going to create value? And so we have processes for both of those things. We integrate those together. So from the beginning, back here, and when we're thinking about what are the problems that we need to solve. You know, we're engineers, and sometimes we find new technologies, and we get, as I said earlier, enamored, and we have these new technologies, and we start looking around for problems to solve with the new technology. What we really need to do is start with what are the problems? What are the business problems that we need to solve? And then later we'll start applying technology. That's all part of the roadmap that comes together, and then how to use that technology in the field. So we have processes that are integrated together for all of that.
Oh, okay, perfect. So, summarizing a little bit everything that you have talked about, why should people attend or listen to your presentation at the Asset Performance Virtual Conference?
Well, my objective is at the end of a presentation that people have some new ideas, things that they can go out and start implementing in the field, new things to think about, new ways to look at how they're going to do projects. So we're going to talk about from the beginning, from how do you build a roadmap? You know, what are the elements that you should be looking at for a roadmap, starting back with front-end engineering. We're going to talk about that process, and then we're going to talk about the process on the back end, about how do we create value. We'll talk a little bit about metrics. What are the proactive metrics for APM that you should be looking at when you try to drive this adoption? So my goal is at the end of that, that people have some new ideas, that they can take these new ideas and start thinking about them out in their workplace and start applying and creating value with these things.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Paul. We'll be looking forward to see your presentation live at the Asset Performance 4.0 online conference. It's taking place on Wednesday, October 26th at 1 o'clock p.m. in the afternoon, Central European time. Looking forward to meet you there. Thank you.